and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Zomato's parent Eternal hit a record high on renewed optimism around Blinkit, which reported higher order value than food delivery in Q1. Rival Swiggy shares also rose nearly 5%. This rally came despite net profit falling to 25 crore rupees, while revenue surged 70% to over 7,000 crore rupees.
Paytm reports a net and EBITDA profit for the first time, net profit of 122.5 crore rupees during the June quarter compared to a loss of 839 crore rupees last year. Revenue up 27.7% from last year to 1,917 crore rupees.
Pure Foods leads 2 crore rupees pre-seed funding round in fitness startup App Club. The firm will use the investment to bolster their signature coaching programs and build a back-end team to manage 10x scale. App Club is aiming to generate 1 million ARR by 2026.
Alphabet, faced with unprecedented threats from AI rivals, will be keen to assure investors this week that the company's own spending on the technology is helping it dig a deeper moat around its search and advertising businesses. Alphabet is expected to report a near 11% jump in total revenue for the second quarter, as per LSEG data.
US tech giants Meta, X and LinkedIn have lodged an appeal against an unprecedented VAT claim by Italy that could influence tax policy across the 27-nation European Union, Reuters reported. This is the first time that Italy has faced to reach a settlement agreement after bringing tax cases against tech companies, resulting in a fully fledged judicial tax trial being launched. Well, those are the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening on What's Brewing Today. Ahmedabad-based Social Pilot, a bootstrapped and profitable social media SaaS platform, has been acquired by Swedish digital giant Group One in a deal valued at over $50 million. Now founded in 2014 by Jimit Bagadia and Tejas Mehta, Social Pilot has hit nearly $10 million in ARR, all on customer revenue with no external capital. On What's Brewing Today, we decode one of India's biggest venture-free SaaS exits and the story behind Social Pilot. Joining me now is its co-founder, Tejas Mehta. Tejas, welcome to Startup Street. Now, before we talk about the acquisition, let's understand the core product. Social Pilot helps small businesses manage their social media presence efficiently and affordably. That's what you claim. How do you do that without the complexity or cost of enterprise tools? If you could take us through your offerings first.
Arundhati, thank you for having me on the segment. Social Pilot, as you rightly mentioned, is a social media management platform. At the core, we help SMBs focus on their social media publishing, social media inbox management, comments management, etc., and then social media analytics. We have recently added capabilities around reviews management and local listings management. Now, very importantly, in order to compete in this market, we make this product about customers. It's not about us, it is about them. It is about their needs. And we focus on what is a customer asking for. We do this with a combination of strong user research team and a strong product team, which works closely with the customers to understand their problems, their processes, their needs, and how to best address this. This is how we kind of keep the product very simple without incurring a lot of costs.
All right. Let's talk about the acquisition. What drew Group One to Social Pilot and what made you say yes to them? And will Social Pilot continue to operate independently? And what does this mean for your roadmap, your team, and your users?
Absolutely. I think multiple factors played a role in determining the fitment. At the core, both the organizations have very similar DNA. Customer centricity is core to us. It's core to Group One as well. We focus on simplicity, they focus on simplicity, and our ambitions are to scale globally. This was, I think, a match made in heaven, so to say. Specifically, I think Group One appreciates the need for social-first nature in this marketing mix in today's world. They really loved our product, and then they also liked our core engineering and product teams. So I think multiple factors played in this acquisition.
And you will continue to operate independently?
Absolutely. Social Pilot will continue to operate independently as a brand. We obviously will have a lot of support from Group One. Our roadmap will continue to focus on user needs and additional focus with integration on Group One's products. Our team will get a much larger canvas to play on. So I think it's a win for our customers. It's a win for our team as well.
Okay, so headquartered in Sweden, Group One provides cloud hosting, website services, and marketing tools to over 2 million SMBs across Europe and other global markets. So, like you mentioned earlier, Social Pilot complements its existing product suite. But what is the kind of impact you hope to make now after this acquisition? What's in store?
Our ambitions have grown drastically. We are targeting at 100 million revenues in next 3 to 5 years, along with Group One's help. We want to offer our products to their customer base, and we want to offer their customers their products to our customer base as well. Together, I think we have greatly grown our ambitions to 100 million revenues in next 3 to 5 years.
All right. Now, Tejas, in a world obsessed with VC funding, you chose a different path. No external capital, no dilution. How hard was it to stay bootstrapped, especially in a competitive SaaS space? And also take us through your revenue model. How are you making money?
Arundhati, let me tell you this. It's not easy bootstrapping. It wasn't easy 10 years ago. It's not easy today as well. But we remain bootstrapped, and we are able to win because of our obsession with customers and building customer-first products. We have to be very efficient in deploying our cash, and we have to build a very strong team in order to reach our mission and vision. We have to have a creative playbook. We cannot just follow a VC-funded startups playbook. We have to be very creative in strategy and execution. We essentially created our own playbook for winning here. That's how I think we're able to survive. In terms of, please go ahead.
Yes, you've built a global customer base across North America, Europe, Asia, and a remote-first team. So Tejas, tell us, how did you scale globally without the push of VC money or an army of salespeople?
Again, our product is very customer focused. Our marketing is 100% inbound. We do a lot of great content marketing, a lot of great SEO. That is how we are able to grow 100% without worrying about VC money or salespeople.
Again, if you could just give us a bit more about the revenue model bit.
Absolutely. We are 100% SaaS business. All our customers are either monthly recurring revenue or annual recurring revenue. There is no services or one-time revenue. And everything is through the SaaS softwares that we offer.
All right. Give us a snapshot of where the business stands today. If you could take us to the current business growth numbers, your current user base, and the revenue target. Of course, you've given us that $100 million target for the future.
We are currently hovering around 10 million in annual recurring revenue.
Yes.
We plan to grow 15 to 20% this year. We have over 13,000 customers globally. And we are focused on 100 million as a number. Our team is focused on 100 million as a number in next 3 to 5 years. That's our goal.
Well, on that note, it's time for me to wrap up this conversation. Tejas, many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today, and wish you the very best for all your growth targets.
Thank you for having me, Arundhati.
In a major boost to India's deep tech and semiconductor ambitions, Bengaluru-based Myotic Semiconductor has raised $4.15 million in seed funding to transform how analog chips are designed. Co-led by India partners and Xfinity Venture Partners, the round backs Myotic's bold mission to bring generative AI into the heart of chip development, cutting-edge design cycles from weeks to days, and with a founding team behind products that have sold over 1 billion units globally, Myotic is betting big on making India a key player in the trillion-dollar semiconductor space. Joining us now to discuss this further is Girish Rajendran, the co-founder and CEO of Myotic Semiconductor. Girish, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. Myotic is solving a complex, highly specialized challenge in analog chip design, right? For those who are unfamiliar with what this means, can you sort of explain to us what exactly do you do and why is it such a game changer for the semiconductor industry?
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. Let me start by explaining the semiconductor industry. So as on date, the industry itself is around $600 billion. And this is expected to grow to around $1 trillion plus by 2030. There are 3 key segments. One is the manufacturing, fabs, the fabrication. Then there are design houses, the chip design. And then there is another aspect, which is a software offering that is used to do the design, right, as well as aid the manufacturing. So what the sector that we play in is the last one, the software field. The product that we are developing is a co-pilot that is going to accelerate the chip design process.
Absolutely. You've just raised this $4.15 million in seed funding, right? What will this capital be used for, and how soon can we expect your Gen AI Copilot to go live in the market?
Yeah. So the capital that we raised from India and Xfinity partners, this will help us to accelerate our hiring and to quickly go out with our solution. And our plan and the target is to hit the market by early next year.
Sure. Okay, so early next year is when you're looking at that. But now the analog chip design has largely remained manual and resistant to automation, right? So what makes now the right time to introduce Gen AI into this workflow?
Yeah, one key aspect is the new advancements in Gen AI that has enabled techniques by which you will be able to aid the designers by building a copilot without making them learn new programming languages, right? And making it extremely user-friendly. That is one aspect. Second is it can also help compress the data in a good way by which they can easily access what they need. So there are two aspects. Yeah, the user friendliness wouldn't have been possible a few years ago, but yeah, now with this advancement in AI, it has become possible.
Sure, I know you're also targeting specifically the analog IC market first, right? What are the specific use cases or sectors like, automotive or telecom, where you see the earliest adoption?
Yeah. So our plan is to start with the communication segment, the communication devices. That would be our first vertical that we are going to target. And of course, as the platform stabilize, we will be expanding it to the other domains like automotive and so on.
All right. And, your core team has built and shipped products that have sold over 1 billion units globally, right? So how does that depth of experience sort of shape your approach to building this new platform?
Yeah, of course, myself as well as the co-founder said, we have been in this semiconductor industry for more than 2 decades. And what that helps is we do know what are the key pain points, right, in a design cycle, due to the chip development, the design, the RAM to production. We understand what are the key pain points. And it is what is it that is critical to solve today to accelerate this.
Sure. And, India has been pushing hard on semiconductor self-reliance. Where do you think Meotic fits into this larger national vision? And are there any partnerships with government or public sector entities in the pipeline?
Of course, the schemes by government, be it the direct schemes like DLI as well as the indirect schemes like the fund of funds, those are all very helpful for the startups. Of course, we also expect in future to be part of some of these. And
sure.
In general, it is a good momentum in terms of the semiconductor, the visibility that that this industry is able to garner today.
All right. And you're building something that could massively reduce design cycles and lower the barrier to entry for analog chip design, right? Could this sort of open up the space for newer, smaller players globally?
So if we are talking about the customers of our products, smaller companies that can come up and challenge, use our product and accelerate their product cycles, yeah, of course, that is one possibility. If your question is more related to competition, of course, there also we expect enable companies, startups to come up in future in similar field.
Sure. And what about revenues? Can you take us through what you're clocking and where do you hope to end this year?
So as I mentioned earlier, we expect the first product launch to happen early next year. So that would be a good time to discuss more about the revenue plans.
All right, Girish, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. We wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you for having me.
On that note, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up, Luma Fertility is blending cutting-edge science with compassionate care to transform reproductive health in India. The startup has raised $4 million in fresh funding. We put the founder on the hot seat to find out more. Stay tuned.
जिंदगी एक सफर है सुहाना. We've all been fortunate that our wives are smarter than us. All three of us met our wives at work. I can now die a peaceful. I actually shook hands with Mr. Bachchan.
I said, Pagal hai, yeah. He threw me a googly, which I was not prepared for. He said, how dare you leave family?
You look at my mic and say, what's happened? I said, sir, your zip is open.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. India's fertility landscape is undergoing quite a revolution, and leading that charge is Luma Fertility. The startup blends cutting-edge science with deeply human care to redefine how India approaches reproductive health. Now, with $4 million in fresh funding led by Peak 15 Surge and backing from marquee names like Amida Shah and Vijay Taparia, Luma is gearing up to scale its full-stack tech-enabled clinics and bring empathy back to fertility care. Joining me now to discuss this further is Neha Motwani, the founder of Luma Fertility. Also with me is my colleague Shruti. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Neha. You know, first up, what kind of gaps in India's current fertility ecosystem were you most determined to solve when you started Luma?
Thanks for having me. And I think, this actually goes back to my own journey. And I think, having been through fertility treatments myself, I saw the gaps which were very, very evident. And I personally felt like the experience side was extremely broken, right? Right from somebody trying to access fertility services to the entire journey when the treatment happens. And what we saw globally when we benchmarked, we actually realized that technology in IVF has really not changed in the last sort of 30, 40 years. But what really can make a massive difference, because it's a very difficult journey in itself, is how do you make the patient sort of feel cared for, feel supported. And I think the huge gap that we are trying to sort of bring in form of care that is given to the patient, technology and AI solutions that are added into the journey, that actually makes the entire, experience very wholesome.
Absolutely. And Neha, this is Shruti quickly stepping in. Like Arundhati mentioned earlier, you've just raised $4 million in seed funding. How do you really plan to deploy this capital across tech, clinical expansion and patient experience that you were talking about in the next phase of growth? If you could give us a sense of that.
Yeah, Shruti. So basically, I think, for us, we want to actually approach this, city by city. We've launched our first flagship clinic in Mumbai, in Bandra. It's a 6,000 square feet place. It's a large sort of flagship unit at our end. We want to scale that up and really prove that patient experience can be delivered at the level that we are looking at. So for us, patient experience is not just two words, but it's really redefining the way the patient is treated, whether it is egg freezing, whether it is a fertility consult or IVF, right? And I think once we sort of prove that, the idea is to launch 2 more clinics in Mumbai. From a capability perspective, we are investing a lot in technology. We already have an app. We already have a website that actually books real-time appointments with our doctors. And our plan is to extend that technology with deeper AI, deeper analytics, and really, merge what we are seeing in terms of the care team and the patient-centric approach to how we are managing the fertility journey along with technology. As we do that, of course, once we are extending our services outside of Bombay, we will then look at expanding across all metro cities.
Sure, absolutely. But speaking about tech there, like you pointed out, Luma is branded as both tech-enabled and patient-first, right? If you could sort of walk us through how your clinic model integrates empathy and innovation at every step.
Yeah, and I think, what happened for us is that when we looked at, what are the gaps in the market, we actually started with my own experience and extended that with about 200 women that we spoke to personally. And these are women from across India who've actually been through this journey. And what we realized is that there are actually multiple friction points, and we actually have detailed those 55 friction points that we believe every patient sort of goes through. And the idea for us was to actually solve for each and every sort of friction point. But the major sort of difference is that we've looked at everything, whether it is the center design, whether it is technology, whether it is the doctor consult, or really the treatment steps with the patient at the center. So it's really, in that sense, consumerism in healthcare, which is re-architecting the entire journey with the patient at the center. And
Sure.
You're absolutely right. I think empathy and compassion comes right at the core of what we are sort of doing, along with transparency and ethics, right? There's a lot of taboo associated with fertility as a subject. So we also want to ensure that there's privacy, confidentiality when somebody actually goes through this treatment.
Absolutely, that's important. But Neha, if you could now break down how Luma's revenue model works. Is it primarily procedure-based, or are there subscriptions and bundled services as well? Take us through, also if you could tell us what you're clocking currently and where you hope to end this year with.
Yeah, sure. So I think we've just started, Shruti, and I think it's literally month 2 at the clinic. So we are meeting a lot of patients, and we're actually in process to also doing a lot of treatments. From a revenue model perspective, I think we're a full stack physical clinic, and for us the revenues come from the patients who come in. Our patient acquisition strategy is primarily B2C. And we're seeing amazing traction, especially on the egg freezing side, where we are literally starting with raising awareness for women to understand where they are on the fertility timeline, and then knowing if egg freezing is the right step for them. And also initiating a preconception consults for couples to really know if they are wanting to plan a baby, how should they go about it. So our revenue model will evolve as we go along, but it will be centered around treatments and procedures that we are able to do at the clinic. And as we go along, of course, the idea is to break even in the next 8 to 9 months. And once we break even the first center, we will look at launching the other 2 centers, like I mentioned.
So you plan to break even in the next 8 months is what you're saying. So, you're sort of looking to expand post that. So what's the roadmap for the next 12 to 18 months? Will you replicate the Bandra flagship model or adapt it by city? And, what are the cities on your radar after Bombay?
We definitely want to be in all the metros. Our plan is to be in Pune, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Bangalore, Chennai. But like you said, I think the model is going to evolve. We do believe that a flagship clinic, especially the way we've created it, which is literally like a center of excellence, and it has everything full stack, right? So from a pharmacy to our lab, we have a huge cryo chamber. Our lab is completely transparent, so you can actually see through what is happening inside the lab. And this sort of flagship experience that we've created, we want to replicate each of these flagship clinics across cities, and maybe the other set of centers will be smaller. And we'll also look at a hub and spoke model, which is something that has worked well. But like it's a very, very competitive market, and there are incumbents out there. There are almost 100 clinics in each of the metro cities that we're talking about. So we're very cognizant on the fact that our differentiators need to play out, and we need to actually build as we see more traction on the egg freezing side as well as on the IVF side. One flagship clinic as we scale, we'll actually learn further and we'll take it from there.
All right. On that note, I'll have to wrap up our conversation. Many thanks, Neha, for joining us on Startup Street, and wish you the very best with all your expansion plans.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Thanks, Arundhati.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street, both from Arundhati and me, Shruti. More news and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.